Thank you, Council Administration, for that quick recess. We're now back to order, and we will now begin the process of the agenda, which talks to subsequent motions related to budget matters. So, Ms. Winter, did you want to just put them up in order as you received them, perhaps? I'm not too sure what the order was you determined. Is that how you want to do it? Just one at a time as you've got in your possession? Ms. Winter, please.
Thank you, Mayor. If each councillor just wants to start ringing in with theirs, I can just go ahead and find it as we go into it that way.
Okay, because I'm not too sure which people actually submitted something in motion. I think everyone did. I think, or pretty close to it. So.
Yes.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Let's start on the west side of the room. Ms. Miller. North side. North side. We keep saying west side, going west side, south side. Okay. Anyhow. It's a West Side story. Now you're West Side today. Councillor Miller, you have the floor for your subsequent motion or motions.
Sure. So I have two. I only have one that I have brought up on my screen here. So the one regarding the schedule, Shalene, I don't have that one in front of me. So I'll read out the one that I do have.
And just before you do, well, I think you're mentioning it, Council Administration, people listening home, will do subsequent motions first. Then we'll have a discussion, if need be, on fees and charges. Only if those questions pertain to the budget in terms of changing a cost. We just general inquiries, fees and budgets, fees and charges that'll be at the next week's council meeting. Okay. I'll get back to clarify that when we're done. So Ashley, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. I guess we'll go with the schedule one first. So my motion is that by the end of January 2022, administration develop and implement a user schedule for J. LaPointe, Dansero, and Bellevue outdoor boarded skating rinks for youth shinny, adult shinny, and public skating. Do we speak to our motions?
Yes, please speak to your motion, please.
So the reasoning behind this is kind of what we touched on earlier is I think the thought is that the boarded rinks are typically used for shinny. And I know a lot of people that actually go there and play shinny, and that's all good. The only thing is I would like the opportunity for that surface to be utilized for either public skating or for little guys to get out there with their sticks and their pucks as well and not be overtaken by older people playing shinny. So I think the thought around it is just that it be utilized by all groups and ages, and a schedule would kind of keep things in line a little bit more. I don't know what that would look like as far as people enforcing that. So I don't know if anyone else has any ideas on who could actually be helping enforce that schedule, but I think it's something that would be really beneficial to the community. I've seen a couple other municipal towns and cities do it as well. So, and it works really well. So that is my explanation on that subsequent motion.
Thank you, Councillor. Perhaps I'll ask for administration to offer a suggestion or thought before I ask Council for questions on the motion. Mr. Suter, this be something you would be perhaps willing to speak to or able to speak to?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and to Council. Yeah, we could certainly look at this. I don't have any quick answers for you off the top of my head on this one, but yes, it's a matter of education and communication as well as some signage. Enforcement, of course, would be a challenge. However, there may not be a need for that if we can come up with something that works for most people. So we need some time to do that. January 22, we should be able to come back to Council with a suggested setup for that schedule.
Thank you, Mr. Suter. In general, Council, we have 11 subsequent motions to go through tonight. So these are all more informational requirement type of questions and motions. So it won't affect the actual budget. So I'll ask you to keep your questions to a minimum if we can, but I'm not going to curtail debate. If there's questions, we will get to them, but I'll ask you to keep your questions to a minimum if we can in interest of time this evening. So are there any questions from Council regarding Mr. Suter's explanation or Councillor Miller's motion? Councillor McCook, you have the floor. Go ahead, Kat.
Thank you, Mayor Daniluk. Yeah, one of my questions was, how will it be enforced? Also, what does the implementation look like? So I think getting some of that information back would be good. Also, is this something that potentially the outdoor programmer could kind of take on and do?
Through the mayor.
Mr. Schwartz, I see a smile on your face. I think you want to say something?
No, I was just going to retort with the one that we didn't approve.
No, it got approved.
It was approved, yeah.
I thought it was approved.
No,
It
it was.
did?
Okay, okay, then the answer is yes. That's exactly what this.
Yeah,
proposal is.
Okay,
Yes,
perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
I just can't commit to having a person in the spot by then, that's all.
Yes, yeah, no, I understand that. But eventually that could be something they could do, correct?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Councillor Van Newkirk. Steve, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. Third time's the charm. Let's, if we could do the public engagement for the rink restoration, please. Thank you.
Oh, you're asking for a subsequent motion? to
Yeah,
be
sorry.
drafted?
Yeah, sorry. Just sorry.
Yeah.
Let me speak more correctly.
Okay,
Through you, Mayor Daniluk, to administration, could you please put up the motion that I amended for the engagement on the 56A Avenue rink?
okay.
Or 56A Street, sorry.
Mayor, point of order, are we going to be voting on each one or are we going to do them all at the end?
Each one is my understanding.
Like, is mine done now or?
No.
Because we didn't finish with Ashley's.
Yeah, let
My
me get to that, Kathy.
misunderstanding.
Hang on a
Sorry,
second,
I'm jumping
please.
the gun.
Let me get to it.
No,
I'll turn
Steve?
off. I'm jumping the gun.
Yeah, I think we got to finish off.
Yep.
Sorry,
I thought you were adjusting mine.
I was
like,
unclear. I
for
should have
some
specified that we're going to vote on each motion as it comes along. Ms. Winter, would you care to comment?
Thank you, Mayor. I agree. We weren't finished debating Councillor Miller's motion, so
Yeah.
Councillor Van Newkirk caught me off guard, but.
It's okay.
so I'm
That's what
gonna
I
go
was
ahead
wondering
and
about.
pop
So
the
yeah, so we're
motion
going
back up,
to,
But I will be ready with Councillor Van Newkirk's.
okay, let's get back on track. We're going to deal with each motion individually, as I should have been more clear, my mistake. So let's go back to Councillor Miller's motion. And Steve, any questions on her motion? I'm assuming not. Thank you. Renee, Kathy, we're good?
We're good.
Good.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. And I will vote first, and I'll call for Councillor Barnhart, your vote.
Yes, I'm in favor, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Tessier?
In favor.
Thank you. That carries 6-0. Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Councillor Miller, you had a second motion, or I'll come back to you for that at a later time.
Please come back to me. at a
Yes, I'll
later
do
time.
that. Thank you very much. Councillor Van Newkirk, are you prepared to put forth any motion at this point? I'm just going to now, I'll come to Kat, then I'll go to Kathy and Renee remotely on Zoom, okay? Councillor Newkirk, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. Let me try that again. Mayor Daniluk, through you to administration, if you could put up the motion on the 56A Street rink public engagement.
Please read your motion, Steve.
I would move that by the end of the first quarter of 2022, administration conduct public engagement and provide a summary report to council on the possibility of restoring the historical outdoor rink on 56A Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion on the motion. Steve, you want to expand on your motion at all? I think it's pretty straightforward
No,
from
I
our
think
earlier
we spoke
discussion.
about it enough tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Tessier Barnhart, any comments or questions on this motion? We discussed it briefly before. Now we're just fine tuning it.
Yep,
No.
no, all good here.
Seeing no discussion on the motion, I'll call for the vote. I will vote first, and I'll call for my councillors on the phone. Councillor Barnhart, your vote, please.
Yes, in favor, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Tessier.
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Appreciate that. Councillor Van Newkirk, do you have a subsequent motion to make? In addition to this one, you're good? Thank you. Councillor McCook, do you have any subsequent motions to make this evening at this point? Seeing none? Okay. Councillor Barnhart, do you have any subsequent motions to make?
I do have one, and if Miss Winter would put it up on the screen, please, I'd appreciate that. Regarding the library expansion.
And perhaps I'll read it for you, Councillor.
Thank you. That would be great.
I'm assuming you haven't got visual as well as you'd probably like, so I'll do it on your behalf.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Barnhart moves that by the end of the second quarter of 2022, administration provide a report on the options for funding expansion of the current municipal library building. Please speak to your motion.
I think it behooves us to do something in regards to this request by the library board, I think they've done well. I know in the past number of years, we have helped them as well to complete a feasibility study for the need for this library expansion. And they have been working diligently and very hard to come up with a design that works for their needs in a timely manner. I do not want to see that linger and not have some type of a sunset clause, if that's what it turns out to be, but I hope it doesn't. So I do think that we need to have something come back to council from the administration, as was stated, that perhaps there are other options that we're not aware of. And I think we should know what those are sooner rather than later. So this motion would keep the project moving forward, I hope, and would give the library some definitive answer here. Not now, because we don't have that answer, but in the near future.
Thank you. Before I go to council in general, I'll ask administration, is administration comfortable with the nature of this motion and what's being requested? Is there any clarification administration needs as part of the discussion on what the intent or expectation of the motion is? Mr. Dollar, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's really no lack of clarity, I think, from administration's standpoint. The only thing I'll say is that what likely will come back as part of the report is more expansive than just a focus on the municipal library building. My hope would be is that there'd be some other context around other city facilities and need for expansion of other facilities as well as the library.
Thank you, Mr. Dollar. Any other questions from council on this motion? Councillor Tessier? I'll ask you because you're remote.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if I understand the motion. So I thought the report brought by the library explains exactly their funding. Like they have $1 million from fundraising. They need another $1 million from grant. They're asking the city for $6 million. Is this something more that we're looking for, Kathy?
Well, by not passing it today, we're essentially saying we don't have the support for that expansion and for their request. And so, Councillor Tessier, I agree with you. I think they've done their bit. They brought it forward to us. And now, without giving them an answer, we leave them hanging. So I'd like to find out what else the administration has potentially to deal with the need of the library, so that they can carry on with their capital building campaign, because they won't be able to raise money if the city doesn't support their design.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Any further questions from council before we vote on the motion? Seeing none. Council? Oh, hang on a second. I just got to clear the votes from before. There we are. Okay, council, please vote. Councillor Barnhart?
Yes, in favor, Mayor.
Councillor Tessier?
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. No opposition to the motion. Thank you. Is there another subsequent motion from you, Councillor Barnhart?
No, that's it for me tonight. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Tessier, do you have any subsequent motions that were submitted to administration for discussion this evening?
Yes, I do, Mayor. I have 2 subsequent motions. I will start with the spray park one, Miss Winter. I'll just read off mine because it's a little bit difficult off Zoom, but I would like to move that by the end of the first quarter of 2022, administration provide a report on possible spray park enhancements and improvements that could be made in conjunction with the planned recirculating work, and that the report include possible options and costs for various improvements. I'll speak on it a little bit. Big reason I'm making this motion during budget is there's already planned for work, so let's not do something twice. We've heard that it gets a lot of use, and it is getting older, and there's some safety issues that need to be fixed, along with improving the spray park. A lot of families use it, and a lot of different communities around us have built some pretty amazing spray parks. And I'm sure a lot of you know people that go to different communities to use those spray parks, which means they're bringing their family, their resources, and their finances to that city. Yeah, I can leave it at that. If anyone's got questions or comments.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns on this motion from any other members of council? Councillor Barnhart, do you have anything to say?
Mayor, I didn't see the motion. Now I'm seeing it now.
Okay. You didn't need to repeat it? Or can you said you can see it, you said you can see it?
I can see it. It's just really tiny on my phone, but I can see it.
Okay, you want me to repeat it for you?
That would be great.
That by the end of the first quarter of 2022, administration provide a report on possible spray park enhancements and improvements that could be made in conjunction with the planned recirculating work, and that the report include possible options and costs for various improvements.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I do have one question to the administration, if I could. Is that going to be possible to complete by the first quarter? Because I think there's been a number of motions now that are bringing things back by the first quarter. I'm just wondering if they need a little more time than that.
Okay, having said that, Councillor Barnhart, Mr. Lewicki, are you able to offer some wisdom and comments on this particular situation? You have the floor, please, Aaron.
Through the mayor to Councillor Barnhart, I agree with your concern. We do have quite a few motions on the floor that we need to address for the end of Q1. I would also indicate that the spray park expansion work is planned for 2023 at this time. So I think that gives us some extra time that we can look at expansion at a later date. So I would consider maybe saying that if we could move the motion to have the report provided for the end of Q2, if that would help ease some of the capacity issues with bringing a report back for the end of Q1.
Okay, my understanding of the other project too is that the work you're going to be doing is sort of involved in this motion already. So giving you more time would allow you to provide a proper report.
Agreed. Thank you.
Councillor Tessier, how do you feel about that? Would you prepare to amend your motion to second quarter, end of second quarter? How do you feel about that?
Works great for me.
Okay, would you please amend the motion on the screen to say the end of second quarter? That's been done. Any further comments, Mr. Lewicki, you need to make, or you're comfortable with what's been said?
I'm good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any further discussion or question on the motion that's been amended to second quarter of 2022? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Councillor Tessier, I'm assuming you're a yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Barnhart?
In favor, Mayor?
Thank you. That carries also 6-0, and motion is carried. Thank you, Council. Is there another subsequent motion for Councillor Tessier?
Yes, just for a motion for the Bellevue rink. It's been discussed, but I'm going to put it forward here. That by the end of the first quarter of 2022, administration provide a report on options, including feasibility and cost for adding pickleball/sport pad surface to the Bellevue rink renewal. I just want to touch on this. I believe it is important for this. There's a growing senior community that uses this as well as the younger generation. I think the school would actually get a lot of use of this during the fall and springtime. And I think there's a bit of, I wouldn't say conflict, but between the tennis courts and the pickleball people, they're really having a tough time scheduling. So if we could get 2 or 3 courts in there during the summertime in that Bellevue rink, I believe it would be used a lot more and give the tennis courts their own place back. So yeah, I'll leave it at that if anyone has any questions or any comments. And again, if the first quarter is too tight, feel free to change it to the second quarter if that's an issue for administration.
I was going to suggest myself, given the earlier comments, plus the fact that it's already December and the rink's being used as it is, nothing will happen until the early spring or summer. So I would request that you consider the second quarter as part of your motion as opposed to the first. Are you prepared to go to second quarter?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you. I would appreciate that accommodation. Mr. Lewicki, do you have any comments or concerns from your perspective on this motion as revised?
Mr. Mayor, I think that'll be fine.
Thank you, Mr. Lewicki. Any questions or comments from council on the motion? Kathy, do you have anything you want to add or question?
No, I'm fine. I'll be supporting this motion, Mayor.
Thank you. Council, seeing no further requests for discussion, I will call for the vote. I'll give Councilor McCook just one moment to regain her seat before I ask. No, don't rush. You're good. Okay. Council, please vote accordingly. Councilor Tessier, I'm assuming you are a yes.
In favor, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Barnhart, just to
Yes,
clarify.
in favor as well.
Thank you. That also carries council 6-0. Thank you very much. Motion is carried. Appreciate that. Is there another subsequent motion from Councilor Tessier? Just the two he had? Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's looked after. Councilor Muckoff Swain, he's not here this evening, but did he submit any subsequent motions for this evening? Okay, that leaves me, I guess. Everyone's looked after? Oh, I apologize, Ashley. I thought we were going to come back to you. I apologize. So having said that, are you prepared to proceed?
I am prepared.
Okay. Councilor Miller, you have the floor for your subsequent motions, please.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I am putting forward a motion that by the end of January 2022, administration provide a report with options and costs for adding portable lighting for the portable outdoor unboarded rinks. So Monteley, Bellevue, St. Vital, Nature Park, and Montrose. So my reasoning behind this is, as we discussed earlier, it gets dark at about 5 o'clock. These rinks are being heavily utilized by the younger demographic of little kids, and without that lighting, it's quite dark out there. And as I've also said, I've seen parents pull their vehicles up there, so I don't think vehicles driving around on the snow or trying to light those surfaces themselves is very efficient in our manner. So that's all I really have to say to that motion.
Thank you. Councilor Barnhart, can you read it? See it or should I read it?
I can, Mayor. And just the only question would be the same as for Councillor Tessier. Is January a little bit too tight? I'm wondering if we could, if that report would have to be back then because we want to catch the winter months. Is that the reasoning for that?
Mr. Lewicki, would you wish to speak?
Through the mayor to Councillor Barnhart. If we're simply looking at getting some costs for some mobile equipment and some trailers, I do understand the urgency to try to accommodate the request on a reason. I mean, end of Q1 would not allow for this to be in place for this season. So I think if we're talking about portable lighting and a portable, so I'm just reading it again here. Just portable lighting. Sorry, I thought I saw dressing rooms. It must have been written somehow.
Yeah, that's coming, but this one is
So I think if it's just
Separate motion.
separate motion. yes.
portable lighting, I don't see a problem with that.
Okay.
I do want to be careful with putting everything in
yeah.
too quickly, but I think we can accommodate that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
having said that, is that possible? This motion is just maybe missing a word or two. I'm looking and costs for adding portable lighting for portable outdoor unboarded rinks. So rinks aren't portable. So
Yeah, I'm not sure why the
Maybe
portable
two motions
outdoor,
got blended.
possibly there, initially the motion was to incorporate one ask, but it had to be separated, and you'll see why on the next one.
Right.
So you can probably take that out there.
Okay, so you're okay with amending your motion to take out the word portable, the second portable,
Right, there you go.
for adding
Yeah,
portable lighting for outdoor unboarded rinks? You're okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Discussion on the motion, please, from council. Councilman Newkirk, you have the floor, please, Steve.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Daniluk, and thanks to Councillor Miller for bringing this forward. If it wasn't for some of the newer technologies available for these lights, as in some of the solar or battery style lights, I might have some concerns because diesel generators be rattling around. But what I know is that there are available solar powered and battery pack type lighting that should necessitate and have no impact to the surrounding area. So just knowing that technology is there, I'm happy to support this look. Thank you.
So is that technology, is that of a portable nature? They are. I
That's-
haven't seen them
yeah.
yet. That's interesting.
Yep.
And may help our tennis courts, which I'll get back to maybe later. We'll see. Not gonna confuse the issue, but one thing at a time. I appreciate the comment, Steve. Any further questions from council on this motion as presented? Councillor Barnhart, Councillor Tessier, anything?
Mayor, I'm glad to see the report coming back. I did have a concern from residents about lighting on some of the outdoor rinks for some events where the lighting was too big. So I'm glad to support this report coming back so I can ask those questions when it does.
Okay. Reserve question for a later time. Renee, you're okay?
I'm okay. I'm in favor.
Thank you. All right. See no further discussion on the motion. I'll ask the question. Now the voting's open. I'll ask Councillor Barnhart to declare.
Yes, I am in favor.
Thank you. Councillor Tessier.
In favor.
Thank you. That motion also carries 6-0. Motion is carried. Thank you. Councillor Miller, your next motion, please.
Thank you, Mayor. And this one I will need to see on the screen because I don't have it in front of me. So thank you, Shalane. All right, so my last motion is that by the end of, I'm going to say it, but that doesn't mean anything at this point, that by the end of January 2022, administration provide a report with options of costs for having dressing room trailers and washrooms located at the 2 outdoor boarded rinks, that'd be J. LaPointe and Dansereau, be added to the 2022 capital budget.
Thank you. Discussion, or please present your motion or discuss your motion, please.
Okay,
Oh.
so, sorry.
Ms. Raymond, you would just speak now or can I wait a minute?
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
so for this motion, it's my understanding that there is certain bylaws when it comes to placing something such as a C-can or a dressing room on a school property. So that's why for this one, I'm going to amend it to not say January 2022 because I think this is a little heavier than, and I don't foresee this happening this, but by January, by first quarter. So take your time, but this is just definitely something I think would benefit. You know, when I go out there with my kids, and I've heard from other residents, and just being involved in the community public skating, we go out there and there's nowhere to put the skates on, right? There's nowhere to go to the washroom. So something like this is my ask is just for the boarded rinks at this time, and just some options for costs. But I do understand that there is those regulations and the bylaw issue with plop and C-cans on school property. So that being said, that's all I'm putting forward.
Would you maybe prefer to just give a specific date, maybe end of second quarter? What would you like to do?
Considering I don't think this will happen, yeah, we'll go end of second quarter. That's fine.
Okay, just so it's a little more specific. Ms.
Yeah.
Winter? We're going to look at amending Ash's motion to the end of the second quarter 2022 to start with on this particular motion. Then I'll go to Ms. Raymond for additional comments, and then we'll come back if I could. Ms. Raymond, do you have the floor?
Yes, thank you, your Mayor. Through to Councillor Miller. I do have a question for you in terms of the dressing room trailers. Are those intended to be, you mentioned C-cans, so I'm assuming temporary trailers, we're not looking for permanent
right.
structure?
That's right.
So then they would be removed at the end of that season. And I know that Bellevue already has something along these, so you're just looking at the 2 newer rinks that we've put on.
Absolutely. I'm not looking for anything permanent. This is just to service the rink in the winter. So they can be temporary and they can be removed. I think Bellevue's is permanent, is it not? Yeah, it doesn't have to be permanent. I don't see the benefit to it during the summer months unless anyone else sees some sort of benefit to it. But it would just be for the winter months to be utilized.
Thank you. And one last question just on that. The dressing rooms would be heated?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I know from experience, you could use the aqua trailer type to have washrooms built into them already as
sure.
opposed to C-can and adding washrooms. They'll figure out the details. That's sort of the idea, right? That you're sort of getting
that is
to.
100% the idea. Yes.
Okay, let me get to Mr. Lewicki, then I'll get back to, Ms. Winter, you prefer to go first from procedural perspective? Aaron, would you mind holding for a moment? Thank you. Ms. Winter.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to make a correction in this motion that I've put up on the screen. I had been working with Councillor Miller on drafting this one, and I accidentally did leave in the words be added to the 2022 capital budget. So if Councillor Miller is okay, if I just go ahead and delete that part of that motion that's on the screen.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So before I go to Mr. Lewicki, I'll just clarify the motion. I'll read it for Kathy's purpose. But it's too small for you to read where you are, Kathy. That by the end of the second quarter of 2022, administration provide a report with options of costs for having dressing room, trailers, and washrooms located at the 2 outdoor rinks, J. LaPointe and Dansereau. Mr. Lewicki, you have the floor. Thanks for being patient.
Councillor Miller, as this is something that will not be initiated or considered further for this season, is it possible to consider pushing that report to the end of Q3?
I'd have no problem with that. Yeah, whatever you need. Take your time.
Thank you. I think that, yeah, we just want to, I think there's like, we just want to make sure with the bylaws and can we
Yeah,
do
I was
this?
thinking this would be a little more lengthy than, yeah, so that's fine with me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Winter, if you can make that of second quarter,
Third
end of
quarter.
second quarter 2022. Third quarter, pardon me.
Yeah.
End of third quarter. Does council require the motion to be read one more time, or are we comfortable with the change to third quarter? Seeing no concerns, any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Councillor Barnhart, how do you vote?
I'm in favor, Mayor.
Councillor Tessier?
In favor.
That motion carries 6-0. Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor. Appreciate that. Are there any further subsequent motions from members of council at this point? Seeing none, I think I've got one. I can't remember now. It's been busy. There are else motions, everybody else I'm looking after. I forgot about myself. Ms. Winter, do I have a subsequent motion? I believe I do. Thank you. If you could put up there, please, at your convenience. Thank you. I move that by the end of the Q1 2022, administration prepare a report on the feasibility and implications of expanding the hours for the super senior program to 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'll speak to my motion. Council, as you may be aware, super senior program is for people 74 years of age and older, and they currently can have the facility access from 12 till 4 every day at no cost. I simply want to expand that program to give those seniors a little more accessibility to the rec facility. I foresee no big impact on cost, but not knowing for sure, I didn't want to make any kind of a change during the budget. So I'm asking for a report on any cost implications, especially on expanding the program for the same people of age of 74 or older from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. as opposed to noon to 4. That's the intent of my motion. I'll entertain questions, please, from council. Councilor Van Newkirk.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Denlock. Just looking for some clarification from administration. I thought super seniors were free all the time and that the seniors had 12 till 4 free. Am I misthinking that?
Hang on, unless I read the
I might be
information on
getting
membership
confused by
wrong.
super senior and senior.
Just 1 second.
Through the mayor to Councilor Van Newkirk. I believe you have it right, Councilor Van Newkirk. I'm just trying to find it myself.
Yeah, I'm scrolling the fees and charges bylaw right now.
Okay. Just 1 second. I had two motions together and I actually combined them down into one. So I may have misworded something. I'm glad you caught that, Councilman Newkirk. Let's just wait till we get a confirmation from Mr. Suter.
Yeah, I did find it here, Mr. Suter. It is the current fees and charges bylaw, page 17. Senior is 12 till 4 and super senior is 0. But clarification on my interpretation too, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Say that again, Steve, please.
The way it's presented in the fees and charges bylaw, super senior is 0 across the board. And then senior, which is 60 to 74, has the caveat that from 12 till 4, there's
They're
free
free.
access.
Right. So that was my mistake. I was working two different motions and I decided to just go with one and didn't take out the super.
Yeah, I think
So
that, I
could you
think that
please,
solves it.
thank you
Yeah.
very much. So then the senior program was free noon until 4. I'm asking to consider making that same program free from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Thank you for catching that, Steve. I'm doing things on my plate some days, and that was one of them. So just to clarify, it's down to just the senior, not the super seniors. Is there any discussion on the motion further from council members? Kathy or Renee?
Mayor, you're asking for a report to come back. Is that correct?
Correct, because we couldn't ascertain any cost implications at this point in time. So I'm asking just for a
Right.
point to come back at it in the near future. Yes.
Yes, because I would venture a guess that a lot of the users currently now are in that 60 to 74 year range. So there may be, I would like to see what the cost impact of that is.
Thank you. Councillor Tessier, any questions?
Nope, love it. I think we gotta push this communication out as much as we can. Great program.
Okay. Awesome. Appreciate that. Seeing no further questions from council, I'll call for the vote on the motion as presented. Amended just to say senior, not super senior. Councillor Barnhart, your vote, please.
Yes, in favor?
Thank you. Councillor Tessier.
In favor.
Thank you. That motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much, council. Appreciate that. Are there any further subsequent motions on the 2022 budget? Going once? I'm assuming we're good. All right. We are done with the subsequent motions portion of our agenda. Ms. Winter, I believe that brings us to the end of our budget deliberations. Is that correct from an agenda perspective? Or we do have a section we can ask questions on fees and services. Is that right? Okay. So council, what we'll do now is, I believe we're very close to finishing, so I'm going to plow through. We have got refreshments coming at 7, but I think we can done fairly short here, so we're going to plow through. At this section now, if you have any questions or concerns regarding fees and charges, if they affect the budget, we've already passed that point, but if we have to go back to it, we can. But I'm assuming any fees and charge question you have now will not affect the budget. Are there any questions on fees and charges from council? Councillor McCook, you have the floor, Kat.
Thank you, Mayor Daniluk. Just from looking at our fees and charges and from hearing from a couple nonprofits and user groups in our city, we don't have a specific breakdown or an option for the user groups to use just a meeting or a boardroom at a discounted rate to have their monthly meetings. So I would like to propose a motion, if that's okay.
Yes. Please read your motion.
That administration amend the proposed 2022 fees and charges bylaw so that nonprofit groups may access all meeting rooms in city facilities at a discounted rate. So just from what I've already stated, just so they have an option to be able to have their meetings. I know we have some user groups that have gone as far as past Kalmar to have meetings, to be able to use a space that doesn't cost, $100 a night or $240 for the day. So just so we can potentially have that as an option, as well as I know we have a breakdown for some of the larger spaces for them to use for nonprofit groups. So I think we should have something for the smaller rooms as well. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking to your motion. Council, any questions for Councillor McCook on her motion? Any comments, administration, on the nature of the motion? Seeing none. Any questions from council? Councillor Barnhart, Councillor Tessier?
No questions here, Mayor.
Thank you. Renee?
I'm good, thanks.
Appreciate that. Councillor Newkirk, you have the floor, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. I've heard similar feedback and I like where this is going. The one question I have is, do we need to put a discounted rate number in there? Or what kind of direction would administration need to move forward with this?
Any potential feedback on that? Mr. Dowler?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think what we have in front of us is probably all that administration needs. From a budget standpoint, I'm not anticipating this kind of a change or inclusion in the bylaw to impact the budget to any great extent. So it's something that we can easily absorb within the numbers that council has kind of worked through to this point. So I think we have everything that we need.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to check in on that.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. Are there any further questions, concerns from council before I call for the vote on this motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Councillor Barnhart, how do you vote?
In favor, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Tessier?
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Are there any further questions or comments or concerns on fees and charges at this point? It's coming back to us, I believe, in the new year, is it not, for a review? December 14th. That's going to be a busy day. Okay, December 14th, we'll be talking about fees and charges as part of the budget approval process. So seeing that is the end of our budget deliberations from the agenda perspective, I believe. Ms. Winter, anything on the agenda that we may have missed? I don't think so. Okay, one last point of business. Tomorrow is Councillor McCook's birthday, I understand. So happy birthday, Kat. You missed budget by a day on your birthday, but happy birthday tomorrow and all best wishes for you. Yeah, so no happy birthday singing. I can't sing very well, so a couple of beers maybe later, we'll see, but not right now, thank you. So having said that, I do believe this brings to a conclusion our 2022 budget deliberations. Council, administration, thank you for your work. It's a lot of work doing a budget, a lot of good deliberation. We made some great decisions on this budget, I believe, and we'll have the final budget for approval next Tuesday, December 14th. So stay tuned, the same bat channel, same bat time, and we'll be doing our budget for 2022.